Welcome to this video. Thank you so much for tuning in, sharing in this now moment with myself and with one another. If you haven't seen these videos before, welcome back. If you have, my intention is unity and oneness. I want to go into a little channel flow with the guides again. I'm just trying to kind of catch up. I feel like a lot of us have been rocked by these energies, you guys. I just feel called to reiterate at the beginning of each and every of these videos that it's a lot. Many of us are balancing as best we can, and I just want to say it's a lot for me. It's a lot for people I'm working with, and that's, I'm working with people who've done the work. I've done the work. I'm continuing to do the work, and we're all just doing the best that we can. And so I really just want to encourage everybody to recognize that within each and every one of you listening. We're doing the best we can. And if we aren't doing the best we can, we usually know we're not doing the best we can, right? The other message that's been coming through is to really just go into the heart. And this has been, I used to start off doing these videos. I did a video, the last video I did, I ended with a guided meditation. It was just a basic guided meditation. I'm really encouraging everyone to take a few minutes to drop into the heart, to feel, how am I feeling right now? How is my body feeling right now? Is there any angst that I am feeling in this moment towards myself, towards someone in my life? And can I shift that slightly by feeling appreciation and gratitude for something else in my life, or for that person that's bringing me angst, so that I can change my perspective, so that I can come into a place of forgiveness or acceptance or whatever that is. This is part of the work. And, from my perspective, it's kind of never ending. I feel like we're always going through some layer, and I'm going to pause just for a moment because I have a question. Someone asked me a question, and so I'm going to answer that question in this video. Okay, sorry, got a little distracted there. I want to go back in with the question, and the questions that I was being asked was around the collective, the growth curve. We just went through this eclipse portal, tying up loose ends, parentheses, which I did a whole video on the parentheses, which is mathematical as well as just a general kind of, I almost said algorithm. I don't know why that came through, but we'll play with that a little bit. So that was the subject that I wanted to kind of cover today. So, and how we can navigate in this new space through this eclipse portal, what's going on with these growth curves, and tying up loose ends. And let's just see what the guides have to share in regards to that, which is a general question about kind of the parentheses. And I'm hearing the word curveball. I've got a lot of noise in the background, so I had to put it in a good old-fashioned earplug. I need to get some of those noise canceling headphones. So we are in a space of golden retrieval. And I'm just going to go into flow and just be open to whatever's coming through and kind of interpret it from there. I'm being shown two moons, like small moons, and I'm being shown an infinity symbol in between. And so we are oscillating. And so I'm hearing the word tread lightly. We are oscillating in this space, and we could call the moons the parentheses, and some are calling it a new quarter, if you will, quarter moons. And this is all a play on words. So for those of you astrology buffs, you can play with this a little bit. The alchemy that is set, the trajectory that is set, is bringing up, being shown, so basically I'm doing a collective reading right now, you guys. I'm being shown strings being pulled up from the earth. And so the energies that are being sustained are going to help us in the long run, sustain energy in the long run. We are in the race now, if you will, for the length. I'm hearing like a gun that shot, and we're all running. Yet it is not as if we are running from a particular place towards a particular place. We are just off and running. And as we are moving into this new parallel dimension from one perspective, it gives us the ability to change our perspective. I'm being shown, I'm just going to draw it. Okay, I'm not sure exactly why I'm being shown this, and I'm going to show you my very fancy artwork here. So the first thing I'm being shown is this is the track that a lot of people are on. Many of us are feeling like we're in a parallel track. And then they're showing me though that this is where we are, this is where somebody else is, and eventually it's going to come back and merge into this bigger space. Also, I was shown this symbol, which is the infinity with the two moons. This was in reference to the two worlds split that I had been kind of shown. And it looks like this for whatever reason. So it's not like they're really separate, they're just sliding. I was being shown tectonic plates. So we'll kind of go into that in just a moment. And so we are sharing these diagrams as a very small way of expressing some of the expressions of reality in how they loop together, we might say. For as we are coming into this new construct, as we are expanding into this new version of reality, there are many different conceptual presentations that we would like to play with as we address the current energies. Please keep in mind that oftentimes when we share these expressions, they are for future diagrams, future representations of what we are accessing now. And so we are being called to, okay, I'm being shown this parallel path again. So for whatever reason, let's say this is one person and this is another person. We're looking at each other, recognizing that there's a split, that we're not quite in the same place. We might be going similar directions, we might not, but eventually all roads lead to one place, right? But this is something to do, there's something bigger, I'm just not sure where it is yet. So we invite you to really let loose. This is a message for me. And not feel the need to get stuck in a noose, not feel the need to hang on to any particular paradigm or program right now. For the energies are requesting us to be more energetically uplifted. For as we are lifted up above something, we can see below at what we were in before we were uplifted. So we are in the process of being uplifted, and at times it can feel unstable. I'm seeing people like lifting up and their feet are dangling, and they're like, whoa, what am I feeling? So the question was about old echoes and new beginnings. And this is a simultaneous, this is all simultaneous. So now I'm being shown those strings again. And you know what's interesting is I'd drawn a picture that was very in alignment with a video that was done. I got to go back and decode that a little bit when I have some free time. But part of this is it's physics. I say that like I know, but so it's physics. So I want to play with that a little bit because what I'm seeing is it's almost, I'm hearing cosmic strings. And then I'm seeing a rearrangement of particle mass. So I'm hearing a rearrangement of particle mass. And what happens is the mass shifts. That's a play on words. The masses shift make a huge shift. It shifts where the particles are located in space. And I'm hearing crossbow, crossbearer. So I'm just going to play with this. And it creates a rhythmic exchange with different portal systems. And let's call these portal systems units of energy in space. So these units of energy in space then change how we exist within space and how it is that we interact with these units. So we think of portals as like going through something, entrance into something. I always think of it as a node, right? So these, I like to use this little background because that's a portal, that's a portal, that's a portal, that's a portal, right? So there's lines that line us up with these energies. And essentially what's happening is our ability to simultaneously untangle ourselves while simultaneously working with the new energies is giving us a deeper sense of I'm hearing it changes our mode of transportation. So this has to do with our actual physical vessel, our emotional transmutation, how it is that we are seeing our environment. So as we're untangling and we're seeing these parallels, we're seeing these past echoes or versions of ourselves while we're sitting in this new energy, it transports us to a completely different dimensional perspective because we're able to see, and this is where the guides have been talking about for a long time, being able to see more clearly. We are seeing things differently in real time. So we're seeing people in our lives that are giving us an opportunity to really shift quickly. And we're recognizing as we're shifting, that's all that was. Instead of hanging on to it, instead of saying, well, maybe I should take this person with me on this journey. Maybe I need to change how I view this person. And then it's more about this internal remapping that's happening in real time. Whereas before, it's not to say, it's like we weren't in real time. I'm hearing the delay was much longer. And now time is shifting, and I'm hearing dynamo. Dynamo much blow, dynamo much blow. That's been an ongoing message since I started doing these messages. And I think this has to do with our sun, our activations that are happening with our alignments. And I'm hearing solar activations. And so as we shift our direction, as we shift where it is that we're looking and how it is that we're looking, it's almost as if it changes our entire vibrational bodily functions, is what I'm hearing. And so because our body is what we use to communicate with through the medium that we are, to communicate through the field that we're operating within in physical form. And by the way, I just want to take a moment and address the whole idea around this being a whether you believe this is all, what's the matrix? They say it's all a simulation or not. That's not where I want to go with this. Whether we believe it's a simulation or not, we still have matter, right? There's still skin. There's still mathematical equations that are explaining this particular matrix of reality that we live in. So we're just going to say for the all intensive purposes in this video that it's we are a physical manifestation of this quantum energetic contribution to the matrix that makes up all that is, whether we want to call it a simulation or not. It's still happening, right? It's still sending out signals. It's still causing synapses to fire in the mycelium network that is the complete universe, we'll call it, U-inverse, right? So I'm being just called to play with this. This is going to be kind of one of those videos. I'm just going to drop in and see where it's taking me in the field. This changes our course. It changes our direction. It allows us to perceive our course and our direction with more clarity, even though it doesn't feel that way. It's unscripted, one might say, because the transcriptions are being exposed. That which was written on or within the cellular wheels of energy is changing its fluctuation. And as something, I'm hearing cymatics, seeing cymatics. So as it changes its fluctuation, the frequency and shape changes. And therefore, when a shape changes, how it interacts or expresses itself changes also. The format begins to then morph, if you will, around the change in the cell that is doing the shifting. And so this is where we have a huge impact on the fluid dynamics, on the medium of the reality that we are expressing ourselves through. So that which we each are shifting and morphing into changes, and that which we are shifting and morphing through or using to shift and morph through also changes. So I hope that makes sense. I'll have to go back and share a little bit more in depth on that. And so the way in which we interact with the map, with not only the human signaling, the human template, the tempo in which we organize ourselves changes. And this becomes a scale of harmonics that sends out a signal to the entire scale that we are part of. And the timing in which we are doing this is coming to a head, one might say, plain words. We are slowing this down in this particular video, so in hopes that I, Carrie, I'm hearing that we will go back and interpret this later. Sometimes the messages are shared in a very fluid and fast sense, but something is causing us to slow down, not only in this particular format or exchange in this channel, but all of us. I know that it seems things are speeding up, yet simultaneously we are slowing down. For we are taking the time to address our situation. I'm hearing the wedding crashers. What is our situation, Dad? Yes. Anyways, so it's a play on words too with like the wedding crashers. Like that even is a play on words, right? The divine marriage, divine feminine, divine masculine. It's like crashing together. It's like, well, what is our situation, Dad? Like not judging where we're at. We can play with everything. That's kind of the point in these types of messages. So we slow this down to address thermofluid dynamics, and we play with this for a moment, for things have been heating up for quite some time. And when things heat up, they seem as if they move faster, yet the fluid in which the change is happening is thickening, one might say. It is dissolving and yet becoming more fluid, yet has more nutrients in it. So when things are awakened and I'm being shown, like, let's say things were frozen, then they melt and all the stuff that was inside of that starts moving around and interacting with itself, interacting with what this fluid is. That, when they start interacting, creates more life, essentially. So the way in which all things interact with each other on a quantum level change. And this causes us to also be more aware at a deeper level of the massive birth, we call it, that is happening through this transition. And we are transitioning in a bigger than life, play on words, scenario. And so how do we navigate this massive change? It is more or less about realizing we are on a path of expansion and self-growth. And we are already surpassing at a higher level that which we ever knew we could surpass. It's not to say that we didn't know we could go beyond, yet now we are beyond. And so it is a whole new world for us. And just like any explorer in a whole new world, everything feels different. Everything feels less stable. Everything feels more exciting and at times scarier because we do not have a comparison. Even though we look back and see our path that is in that parallel and we can compare and contrast, we are so far ahead of that. We just think that it's almost like we've left part of ourselves behind and we're looking back at that part of ourselves, not realizing how far back it is. Because there's something about the cellular memory that is still kind of encapsulated within us that makes us think that it's still part of who we are, and it isn't. I know that's confusing. I know some of you are going to be like, what the heck is she talking about? Others are going to be like, and it doesn't matter. I'm just playing with what I'm seeing. How do you define something that has a different pattern than we're used to seeing? How do you add up pieces that are connected to something bigger than we're used to seeing? We think we're gathering pieces, and I'm being shown all these pieces that we're gathering, like we're picking these things up. And then all of a sudden we see these pieces, and then we look, and it's just this infinite quantessa I'm hearing. All right, I'm being called to play with this for a bit. Quantessa, quantesmic. All right, I'm just going to keep playing. It's not really a word. Surprise, surprise. Maybe it is, and I just haven't found exactly what it's attached to. And that's the point. It's almost like there's all these little things that we've been not adding up. We've been keeping them separate, but they're all connected to the same source. And so we are sitting inside of this scope, if you will. And inside of this scope, there is a gyration, and this gyrating energy and fluctuation is keeping us in a momentum that makes us think we are inside of time. But the structure of time is merely a particle of the entire wave, if you will. It is not truly the wave. It is a concept. Just as a particle is not really a particle, it is never separate from the wave. It is one and the same. And in this quantessa, in this quantification, I'm hearing like tesseract, quantessa, quantum solidification. The journey into this new realm is very different than anything we've ever played with before, we'll say. So we will come back to this, for this message has many different, I'm seeing a cube and all kinds of little cubes inside of the cubes. And so which angle do we tune into first? Let us start with the parentheses. For inside of these two moons are a view of energy. For we are inside, if you will. We are held between these two cosmic characters currently that are giving us a sense, if you will, of bigger energies at play. We think that there are beings keeping us stuck here. And in fact, we are stuck nowhere from one perspective. We are already moved into the higher lattice works of frequency. And this is something many are struggling with. Many are struggling with the ability to see the higher frequency, see the fact that they are already the queen or the king of their own queendom. And this is something that each and every one of us is being called to feeling into our own royalty, if you will, our own ability to feel guided by our sense of service to ourselves. We do not mean, or we are not referring to the service to self collective. We are referring to the sense of self as through the eyes of a child, inner child, the establishment of the inner frequency of love, the inner knowingness that allows us to see through new eyes. As we feel into this space, we are beginning to raise our eyes to that which is right in front of us. We are able to look forward. We are able to look ahead. We are able to connect our crown to that which is already an intrinsic part of our own, I'm hearing scalp and scalpula, like it's part of who we are. And this star that we are actually coming into unification with, if you will, from an esoteric standpoint, but also a very literal standpoint, this star that we are lining up with in this next cohesive lattice work structure of astrology is bringing or raining down on us certain components, certain particles, if you will, or stellar exchanges with particle acceleration that is accelerating our ability to look up, that is accelerating our ability to raise our standards, to raise our focus, to raise our frequency. For we are doing that by our curiosity, by finding our inner sense of what if, and what if I were that which I have been seeking? What if that is inside of me? What if I have the ability to feel strong and to be the leader of my own realm? What if I do not need to rely on the stories or the green screen that is being shown or presented to me from a lower state of consciousness? What if I can see above that and beyond that? And many people are already seeing above and beyond that, yet they doubt themselves. They doubt their clairvoyance. They doubt their sense of knowingness because they are confused by the confusion that is being presented, and this massive spin, if you will, or gaslighting that is occurring is happening in a very visceral way. Yet the star that is being born within and the star that is coming into this scale of harmonics is creating a rhythm. It's a sound, and you can hear it. For those who are in space, if you will, or in a place of being able to hear the vibration of, I'm hearing ice when it cracks, are picking up on it. Astronomers are hearing it. It is being vocalized and localized all at the same time. And as this energy moves into our stratosphere, it is changing the way in which we observe our reality. Playing with that sentence for a moment. What does that mean? Really think about it. If we have a new planet that all of a sudden, or a new star that we didn't know existed, or it's closer than we thought it was, it changes our entire perspective on how we interact with our reality. Well, that means it changes this and it changes everything. Somehow this energy is changing everything. And while some doubt this, we invite everyone to feel into your heart, to feel into all of your self-doubt, and to ask, where can I start? Where can I remove the redundancy in my world? And by redundancy, we say these stories that we tell ourselves over and over and over again that are not necessarily meant to be told again. They have been told. Let them lie, if you will. Play on words. For we know the truth. We are standing aside from that which is being projected. And as we look back at that which is being reflected, we allow that parallel reality to be absorbed into the new energies. And eventually, this reality will not reflect itself to us, for we will be continuing to look ahead at that which is more than what is in our heads, that which is more than we have been told, that which is more than we think. For we are already quantum, leaping in quantum adjustments right now. So give it some time. Give yourself the space to be in this new time. Give yourself the ability to relax and receive. For the energies from the star are pouring in. I'm going to come back and play with this a little bit because this was just, I know, all over the place, but this was like a collective reading and it was trifold is what I'm hearing. So it had points in 3 different directions that I have to go back in and kind of pull from and see where I want to kind of gather my attention and focus on. Is it going to be the physics and the quantum part? Is it going to be the physical part? Is it going to just be how we navigate it? And so this is a part 1, I suppose. So in love and light, namaste.